To get ourselves ready for the third and last race of the opening weekend of the 2024 Formula Regional Middle East Championship season here at the YAS Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. And it's amazing how times have changed. 12 months ago, we were talking about the likes of Yugo Chukwu and James Wharton battling for the F4 UAE title. A year later, they're here in the Mumbai Falcons team stepping up to Formula Regional. So obviously, it's a very different car to drive and a much tougher challenge than 12 months ago. So, coming into the third race of the weekend, let's see how they and the rest of the competitors are going to get on. The Formula Regional Middle East Championship returns for its second season and intends to build upon a strong campaign last year. Here's who to watch for in 2024. Race GP are back for more, having won the team title 3 years ago, with Tuukka Tarpanen and Martini Stenshorne eager to build on their F4 and FRECA successes, with Jesse Carrasquedo and Zachary David joining forces with the team from France. For the first time, XL Motorsport are stepping up to Formula Regional. And whilst they're under no illusions that there's a lot to learn, the team is keen to see what they can do. And with Noah Lyle and Yaroslav Vasalaho behind the wheel, they definitely have talent. PHM, with the new Ikes partnership, will have a new look and a thirst for domination. Taylor Barnard continues his Formula 3 prep in the Middle East and wants to win the title, with Brando Badua, Tazana Polinta-Fivazak and Ricky Liu also hoping to challenge for wins. MP Motorsport are running a tough operation this year, with equipment being stalled on a crate coming back from their Indian campaign. But that won't stop drivers Nikhil Bora, Emo Fittipaldi Jr., Valerio Rinicella and Bruno Del Pino pulling out all the stops to go for the gold. Santaloc are now well settled in single-seaters, but Formula Regional is another huge challenge. So the talented trio of Teofil Nile, Spanish F4 champion, along with Matteo De Palo and Pedro Clero, are hoping they can burst out of the block to the top of the timesheets. After last year's strong run to the crowns, expect the same from Mumbai Falcons, operated by Prema. Rafael Kamara and James Wharton return to Prema, now in Formula Regional, and Red Bull ace Arvid Lindblad and McLaren junior Yugo Chukwu will renew their battle from Italian F4. Pinnacle have some serious firepower in the squad this season. Formula 3 driver and Euro Cup 3 title contender Mari Boyer comes back for another crack at victory, with Ginetta star Finley Green and the likes of Alexander Abkasava and Giovanni Mascio hoping to put the hard work they've done in the winter to good use. The Chinese team R&B Racing are back, and this time they've selected a fledgling young talent in Gao Yujia, who partners sports car ace Wang Xiongwei. Don't expect too much from the Chinese pair, but they could turn a head or two if Gao's testing pace is anything to go by. Finally comes the returning Evans GP squad, who struck gold in Britain and are now ready to do the same in the United Arab Emirates. It won't be an easy campaign for either Britain's John Bennett or Australia's Costa Taparis, but both men are eager to triumph and will stop at nothing to make it happen. It's unpredictability all the way in Formula Regional. Phew! What an amazing battle this is going to be as we continue on with the Formula Regional Middle East Championship. Race 3 about to get underway. The cars are just making their way round on their reconnaissance laps now. Jake Sanson down here on the main start-finish straight as we gear ourselves up ready for another spectacular showcase. And it's going to be that man Taylor Barnard back on the front end of the grid once again, with Yugo Chukwu and Martinius Stenshorne giving chase right from the outset. Now, I've heard from Martinius Stenshorne, this is not going to be a full campaign for him. He's only going to do 3 rounds of the championship. So even though he's in prime position now, he's not going to be by season's end. So we need to count him out of the title battle. He'll want to take as many points and as many podiums as he possibly can. That sets him up for a fantastic campaign once he gets back to Europe. However, there is still always that question about what kind of points are you taking off other drivers who are in the title battle? That's always going to be an interesting factor that has to come into play by the time we get to the end of the season. Here we are once again at YAS Marina, and we're in unfamiliar territory to Formula 1 fans because we're on the other side of the race circuit on the support paddock, and you can see that even on this part of the circuit, you've still got a mass array of spectator stands. Not quite as full as it usually is in Formula 1, but we'll get there by the end of the season, don't you worry. Up to the grid comes the Brazilian driver, Rafael Chaves Camara, getting himself ready for another prize title fight. He's going to be working his magic all the way through. Now, the man who's going to join Taylor Barnard on the front row of the grid has just made his way to the front row. Yugo Chukwu of the United States of America, the young McLaren junior driver, definitely one to watch out for, as of course is this man for the Ferrari Academy, Rafael Chaves Camara of Brazil. Definitely going to be a hot shot over the course of this season. And don't forget, he has the experience of 2023 in his arsenal, so he can continue to fight for glory here in 2024. And after the misery of race 2, he's definitely going to want to bounce back with a decent result. And going off P5 on the third row of the grid is definitely going to help his cause. He'll be in a very prime position to make that work in his favour. Yugawuga Chukwu, the American driver, starting on the front row of the grid, as I mentioned. Here comes Tuukka Tappanen, the Finnish driver, also part of the Ferrari Young Drivers Academy, and certainly one of the most talented drivers to come out of Finland for a heck of a long time. Norway's Martinius Stenshorne making his way to the starting grid for the Race GP team. Nicely in position in third place. His teammate Tuukka Tappanen definitely going to be a fighting factor in this one, and he is going to do an entire full season campaign. So there's a lot of amazing talent that people are going to be keeping an eye on for this one. But he may not be the #1 in Formula Regional yet, other than on his car, but he was certainly the #1 rookie in last year's F4 UAE Championship. He's going to have a very interesting time of it. Arvid Lindblad getting himself ready, the young Red Bull superstar, taking a reverse grid victory earlier on today. He was very frustrated about it. He didn't really want to be fighting for reverse grid wins. He wanted to be winning both race 1 and race 3 to get his title of fight up to a good start. But having said that, you've got to start somewhere. You can't win every single race, and it's about what you do when you don't winning rather than what you do when you do. Here to the grid, though, comes the British boy wonder, Taylor Barnard, getting himself into his pole position slot for the PHM Ikes Racing team, masterminded by Paul Muller. It'll be a fabulous opportunity for him to try and fight his way for the victory. There's a very busy race in prospect for our competitors here on the Formula Regional Middle East grid. We've talked about a number of the competitors, but what about the man who has had to step up from F4 UAE to Formula Regional? It'll be a fascinating battle for the young Australian talent, James Wharton. I managed to catch up with him earlier in the weekend. Has he got a chance to win? Let's find out. Last year's F4 UAE champion is now up in Formula Regional with the Mumbai Falcons. James Wharton of Australia is with me. James, last year, fantastic championship campaign. Now up into Formula Regional. How big a difference is the car?
It's been a huge change for me, especially not getting that much testing in before coming here. So it's a big change, but we'll see what we can do.
Now, first impressions, obviously, the F4 car is a very different type of racing car. What is it like when you're behind the wheel? How big a difference is the driving style?
Like everything's different. It's bigger, faster, more grip, more downforce, so it's a lot to get used to. I think F4 is good for racing, but as in a Formula car, this is probably the first step we'll have.
So what exactly does Formula Regional teach you behind the wheel that the F4 car just doesn't give you?
I think just understanding how to use downforce. I think the higher you go up in Formula, the more downforce you'll get. So understanding the downforce is probably the biggest thing you'll learn, and that's what I've had to adapt to as well.
Now, tyre management was always something quite prevalent in F4 UAE. I'm guessing it's a similar story in Formula Regional.
Yeah, I think we're expecting a lot more than what we had. In testing, we didn't have as much as F4, so from that side, it's a bit easier. We don't have to save as much, but still, there's some sort of tyre dig during the races, especially when we have 3 races.
It's quite clear that you didn't feel the need to change the operation. You're still with the same outfit, even though you're stepping up a category.
Yeah, exactly. If something's not broken, don't fix it.
So in terms of your prospects coming into the season, I mean, obviously, as the champion last year in F4 UAE, it would be ambitious to say we're going for the title straight away, but do you think you can be on the pace immediately?
Well, I think it's my job to be on the pace as quick as possible, so if I'm sitting here saying I'm not here to win the championship, I shouldn't be here.
Okay, well, exciting to hear, and we look forward to seeing what you can do. Thanks very much, James.
Thank you.
Well, I've only just got about a tiny bit of puff left. This may end up being a very... goodness me, it may be a very exhausting season, running up and down those stairs. Goodness me, it takes a real tough man of nerves of steel to be able to handle an interview with Jake Sadson. Good job, James Wharton. Tazinder Vivazak, the young man from Thailand, getting himself ready to go. Could be a really interesting situation there for him. And the PHM Ikes Racing team wanting another solid result. And there is the Spanish driver, Marty Boyer, looking for another solid race performance. P6 on the grid for him. And the Pinnacle Motorsport team. Race winner last year. What can he do this year? In fact, for Mari Boyer last year, race 3 of the opening round of the championship, which was on the Dubai Autodrome. Mari Boyer did take the win in that, so let's see what he can do this time around. That was Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. you were just looking at. The Brazilian driver, hoping to continue the fabulous run. And a really exciting situation for all the contenders. There is Ricky Liu, the Chinese driver, gearing up for another run. Always nice when you've got great supporters on the stream reminding me to breathe. Thank you very much. Arvid Lindblad, the British driver, in the Red Bull colours for the Mumbai Falcons team, operated by Prema, was disappointed after taking the victory. I've never seen a race winner looking so crestfallen. Didn't really want to be fighting for reverse grid races, of course. Wanted to be fighting for overall glory, and he's now going to have to wait a week for another chance. But you've got to play the long game with a championship like this. Don't forget, drivers like Stenshorne are not going to do all 5 weekends of the season. And when 2 or 3 drivers drop out, those 1 or 2 reverse grid races suddenly put you in a prime position. If he can get qualifying right next week, he's the championship contender. It's as simple as that. There's Matteo De Palo, getting himself ready with the Santalok racing team. It's been an amazing story, the Santalok journey into single-seaters. They've been GT and rallying superstars out in France for so long. And now here they are in single-seaters. This is their, I think, 2nd year, possibly 3rd, in single-seaters of any kind, and stepped up to Formula Regional in the Middle East. They certainly weren't on this grid last year. They were in F4, of course. There is the number 69. That is the Pinnacle driver, getting himself ready for another spectacular run. This is the brilliant Finlay Green, who hasn't been racing consistently for 5 years. And it's quite an amazing comeback for the fabulous young man from Bristol. I said Welsh, of course, earlier on, but that's only because his dad has Welsh heritage. The R&B racing team of the 2 drivers, Wang Shengwei of China, along with his teammate Gao Yujia. So it could be a very interesting battle for those 2 this coming weekend. And obviously they've had a few more thrills and spills than they would have liked in the 2nd race. They're hoping for a little bit more in the 3rd. The calm before the storm, isn't it? Costa Taparis, the Australian for the Evans GP team. It is going to have another very busy motor racing campaign in 2024. And Costa Taparis, the Australian, looking for another exciting race, hopefully for all the right reasons this time. And there is Ricky Liu, the Chinese driver for PHM, in its new livery that kind of made its appearance midway through last year, but certainly by this time 12 months ago, they were in the traditional PHM colours of white with yellow and blue streaks. They've changed completely for 2024. And there is the Setilar colours of Brando Badoa on the helmet design there. Brando Badoa from the number 15 PHM machine. Not had the best of weekends in terms of raw speed, but he's in the midfield for this one. P16 out of the 29 cars. So hopefully he's going to have a much better race 3 than he has had in race 1 and 2. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr., the young teenage talent, hoping to continue his rise up the ladder. Just because you've got a famous father doesn't necessarily transfer. You've got to make sure you've got the talent to do it. And if you're within a second of the fastest guy in this championship, then you really do have amazing ability. And I can tell you that out of the 29 drivers, 25 of them were within a second on raw lap time pace through qualifying. Extraordinary. The EMSO, the Emirate Motorsports Organisation, working very hard as they continue to run and operate the events here. And they have been supporting F4 UAE since the start of it when Mohammed Ben Sulayem founded it in 2016. They are very proud of having a Formula Regional Middle East Championship and the work that Top Speed has done over the last couple of seasons when they took over promotion of Formula 3 Asia a few years back and then converted this into Formula Regional Middle East. It's growing and growing, and everybody wants to race in it. Off we go then. The green light comes on the starting gantry, and we're ready to go racing. After one more formation lap, and we are getting ourselves ready for another sensational battle. So, what are we going to see from this 3rd and final Formula Regional Middle East encounter? Tough to know, tough to be sure. But this last race of the weekend, it's all happened rather quickly for motorsport fans who have been missing their motorsport over the last few weeks. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait quite as long as other people. My last race of last year was on the 15th of December out in India, just a few hours flight away from here. And we do have some Indians in the field who are out there with us. Nikhil Bora, who of course races in the MP Motorsport team. He was out with us in India. and we had an awful lot of fun. But we're now here in the Middle East, getting ourselves ready for the third race of the weekend in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship. Taylor Barnard and Yuga Wagachukwu on the front row of the grid. Martinius Stenshorne and Tuukka Tarpanen. Rafael Kamara and Mari Boya from Teofil Nile and Tazanapol Intrafuvazak. James Wharton and Valerio Rinicella from Arvid Lindblad and Zachary David. Then Matteo De Palo and Jesse Carrasquedo. Costa Taparis, Brando Badoa, Pedro Claro, Giovanni Mascio, Bruno Del Pino and Nikhil Bora. Alexander Abkasava and Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. John Bennett, Ricky Liu, Noah Lyle, Gao Yujia, Yaroslav Vezalaho, Finley Green and Wang Xiongwei. So the competitors getting themselves back up to speed. There are so many incredible stories in this field. You've got drivers coming in from Formula 3 to keep themselves race sharp for the season. You've got drivers fresh out of Formula 4. You've got drivers who race Formula Regional on the continent and are here continuing on in the Middle East just to sharpen their skills. You've even got drivers who are switching disciplines to try something new. And in the case of Finley Green, this is your first race campaign for 5 years. The 21-year-old deciding to hit the reset button, tried life without motor racing, didn't enjoy it all that much, and decided, no, I'm going to go for it. And on his comeback, what does he do? Formula Regional. That tells you a lot about what Finley Green's composure is. It's a big challenge and it's a big step up. But if he can prove himself here, then it's meant to be, as far as he's concerned. That takes a massive amount of courage, a massive amount of bravery. And you know what? If I was wearing my hat right now, I'd take it off to him. Taylor Barnard, Yuga Wagachukwu. This is going to be an amazing battle. Taylor Barnard, of course, who is on the radar at McLaren as a Formula E reserve in the Neo McLaren team. If he wins this championship, he has enough super license points to race in Formula 1. Alongside him on the right of your picture on the front row is Yuga Wagachukwu, the next McLaren superstar as far as he's concerned. He's part of the McLaren Young Driver program. He's from New York. It's a time when America is falling in love with Grand Prix racing. This is his chance. And he would love to beat Taylor Barnard in a straight fight to accelerate that journey even further. The green flag will fly on the back of the grid now that Wang Xiongwei is in position, and here we go for the third and final time this weekend. The Formula Regional Middle East Championship is going to be underway. Let's race at YAS Marina! Off we go, and it's a good start from Martinius Stenshorne. He's actually leapt ahead of Yuga Wagachukwu, and so too will come Tuukka Tarpanen. Round to the far side, is that going to be enough to hold third position? Yes, he's going to have grip to the far side, but will Yuga Wagachukwu give him the space? He's going to squeeze him out, and Tuukka Tarpanen goes off the road. Rejoins behind Yuga Wagachukwu, but he's not going to be happy about it. Now he's got to try and hold fourth place. He's going to have a big banzai move from Mari Boya round the far side. Boya's not going to get the chance, and there's a little bit of wheel banging further back as Teofil Nile goes wheel to wheel with Rafael Kamara. But that's really backfired on Yuga Wagachukwu and Tuukka Tarpanen. A poor start for the American, a crowded start. Oh, and into the barriers! That's the Mumbai Falcon that's gone into the wall. So something very bad that wrong has gone there. We're going to have to see that again. But Yuga Wagachukwu in third position. It's his teammate that went in. I think that might have been James Wharton. But we'll double check it. There's still more battles going on further round the course, up towards the first corner. As up on the inside, that is Yaroslav Vezalaho. It is Rafael Kamara. What does this guy have to do to catch a break? Just disastrous for Rafael Kamara. That's going to be a guaranteed safety car. That's a slam dunk because it's too close to the racetrack. Now, here's what happened. We're going to see Kamara up in the air. Bang, he's already been hit. And he's not the only one in trouble. Now, who is that other car? I think that is a Pinnacle. Now, I'm trying to make out. I think that might even have been, it's not Mari Boya. I wonder if it might actually have been Taz Intrafuvazak. Yeah, Tazanapol Intrafuvazak doesn't appear to have come through on the sector, nor has Giovanni Mascio. So I think it was Tazanapol Intrafuvazak that collided there with Rafael Kamara. And Kamara is out, and so too is Taz Intrafuvazak. Both of them are gone. That is bitter disappointment for both men. Well, Rafael Kamara is walking away. I know that Tazanapol Intrafuvazak is out of the race because I saw the amount of damage that car picked up when he came together with Kamara, and there's no way that he is going to have any grip or performance or balance in that particular car. So poor Rafael Kamara is out of the race, and I'm afraid so too is his team, is his rival Tazanapol Intrafuvazak. Into the pits comes the number 7. Now that is Pedro Claro, and I think he's taken damage in a separate incident out there. So the Brazilian Pedro Claro in some trouble. They're looking at the right rear of the car. And I would hazard a guess that he's clearly come into contact with somebody out there and had more problems of his own. Now, interestingly, Costa Taparis has had a bit of an eventful first couple of corners of the race. He's been in and around in various points. He seems to have fallen to 16th. I think he was round about there, but he managed to move his way further forward. So a very tough situation for all of the contenders out there as they now try and keep brake and tyre temperature up to scratch. A very solid battle for all of the contenders out there. But we're going to have a very difficult race of it, the way things are currently going. Taylor Barnard in front of Stenshorne and Hugo Ichukwu. Oh dear. Once you start looking at the internals to try and find the problem, you know that you're basically on a route to disaster. And I'm afraid it's looking pretty much game over for the Brazilian driver, Pedro Claro. So I don't think you need to worry too much about Claro upsetting the Apple car. So the competition there having a bit of a pause as Pedro Claro has got out of the car and has walked away. So we've already got 3 retirements then from this race. Rafael Kamara and Tazanapol Indravivazak coming together on the opening lap, causing the safety car. Pedro Claro taking crash damage elsewhere. And that's very much game over for him as well. So 3 drivers gone. We're down to 26. That's still 6 more than you'll get on a Formula 1 field. But for the Santalok, Mumbai Falcons and PHM Ikes racing teams, that's already a bit of a headache, and we haven't even completed 5 minutes of racing yet. So it's a bit of a clear-up job, obviously, just after the W Hotel. So I think we're going to have at least 1 more lap behind the safety car. So let's talk you through the order in full while we've got the opportunity. Taylor Barnard in the lead from Martinius Stenshorne and Hugo Ichukwu. Tuukka Tarpanen in 4th in front of Mari Boya and Teofil Nile. Then James Wharton, Arvid Lindblad in 8th place from Matteo De Palo and Valerio Venicella, the 2 Italians. Zachary David is 11th in front of Jesse Garashkedo. Then Bruno Del Pino, Brando Badoa, Nikhil Bora and Costa Taparis. Alexander Abkasava and Giovanni Mascio in front of Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. and Noah Lyle. Then John Bennett, Yaroslav Vezalaho. And then the Chinese pair of Ricky Liu and Gao Yujia. Finley Green is there in 25th and Wang Shongwei in 26th. So everybody just trying to keep themselves up to speed. No matter whether you're watching either via YouTube, by Facebook, or by Motorsport TV, you're very welcome indeed. Jake Sanson here with you in the commentary box, overlooking the W Hotel as the Formula Regional Middle East drivers are going through. Well, that's Keanu Al-Azari's car being wheeled away. That's the wrong championship, unfortunately. That's the F4 UAE that we just saw a short while ago. No spoilers as to what happened in that race. To be honest with you, the way it ended, I don't quite know the result myself. We'll have to confirm that later. Keep an eye on the F4 UAE Championship social media channels, as well as the Formula Regional Middle East ones as well. All the developments will happen over the course of the next 24 hours, I'm sure, if there are any changes that are needed. And there is Rafael Kamara's car being escorted away. Now, depending on where Tazanapol Indravivazak parked his car, this could be the last lap we're under safety car. So let's see how it all continues. Now, an interesting viewpoint from Cielefred Herm, who points out that Hugo Ichukwu, Tuukka Tarpanen and James Wharton have been racing too roughly already for some time, in his opinion. If they have to push anybody outside, they will, and that's precisely not the cleanest thing to do. I don't think that's fairly true to say of just those 3. I think that's just a modern racing driver mentality. If you've got a driver to the outside of you and you don't feel that they're as level as you, then you close the gap. You close the door and you hold your racing line. Now, obviously the regulation of that needs to be taken into account on that, but that's not something that a driver can handle. The driver can only focus on their particular race, and those racing lines, I should point out, may not always have been as aggressive, but it's something that's been done in Grand Prix racing now for at least 30 years or so. So if the Grand Prix drivers are doing it, then where do you think these guys are going to learn it from? Taylor Barnard still out behind the safety car. We're going to go around at least 1 more time then behind the safety car. Martinius Stenshorne, 2nd position. He would dearly love to go into a race victory. That would be amazing. So Barnard, Stenshorne, Yugachukwu, Tarpanen, Boyer and Nile. James Wharton, Arvid Lindblad, and Matteo De Palo in 9th position ahead of Valerio Menicella and Zachary David in 11th. There's still quite a lot of interesting battles to filter out in this one. I think there's going to be quite a few dynamic battles at the end of this safety car period. 20 minutes on the board, as you can see, plus the additional lap. So it'll be really intriguing to see how things unfold in this one. Having had a very quiet Saturday, it's certainly been a busier Sunday for the safety car driver, hasn't it? He had a bit of a day off yesterday, but I can tell you that the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So I did think it would only be one more lap. They just needed to reset things and obviously make sure the marshals were in their correct positions. Full credit, by the way, to the marshals and the officials. They never get enough credit for the work that they do. But the boys and girls around the circuit in the orange overalls, the Orange Army, as we affectionately refer to them in motorsport, without them, you can't go racing at all. So before you criticise this, criticise that, celebrate those fantastic men and women who give of their free time voluntarily and willingly because they love motorsport just as much as you and I do. I have done a day of marshalling, albeit in karting, but it is not as easy as people immediately assume it is. It takes a lot of hard work, it takes incredible amounts of focus. I would say equal to that of a racing driver, because if you make a mistake, that could be somebody's life in your hands. And these guys are very, very incredible and impressive people. The marshals of motorsport, the unsung heroes, and without them, we are nothing. So the safety car lights are out. Here we go then, folks. Time to go racing again. And this is all going to be about Taylor Barnard pacing this restart. How's it going to go? Martinius Stenshorne is going to need to be very close to Barnard and try and outfox him. There goes the safety car. Look back, and there is Taylor Barnard bunching up this field. When is he going to drop the hammer? Look for him to stop weaving. That's when you'll find your answer. But for the moment, he still is. Taylor Barnard hasn't got a lot of pressure on him from Stenshorne because he knows that Stenshorne's not going to be here for the entire season. But he does know that he wants to take a win off him. Now he's dropped the hammer. There we go. So off we go. Taylor Barnard is off and away as he leads the field around, and it's green, 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 green here at YAS Marina. Hopefully for the last time. Trying to shake off Stenshorne from the draft. So away we go. Barnard, Stenshorne, Yugachukwu, Tarpanen, Boyer and Teofil Nile. From James Wharton, Arvid Lindblad, Matteo De Palo and Valerio Menicella. So through they come, and Barnard has not had an easy time through the first corner, to be fair. Stenshorne is actually closing up on him. Stenshorne's got really good pace. But let's not forget that Taylor Barnard's been racing in Formula 3 for a year. Stenshorne is the one with the most recent experience in this car. That's not to say that Taylor Barnard has no experience in this car. He was a race winner in Formula Regional Middle East last year. But Martinius Stenshorne was the vice champion of Formula Regional Europe. So he's definitely had more concurrent experience in this particular car. Maybe not on this particular circuit, but certainly the battle raging for Stenshorne, and he really wants to take on Taylor Barnard. Third place, Yugachukwu. Fourth place, Tuukka Tarpanen. 4 different teams battling away at the sharp end of the field. Not in the first 4 places, mind, but certainly in the top 5, we've got 4 different teams. In fact, in the top 6, we've got 5 different teams, because we've got Taylor Barnard leading the way for PHM Ikes. The Race GP twins of Stenshorne and Tarpanen are in the top 4. The Mumbai Falcon of Yugachukwu is 3rd. The Pinnacle of Murray Boyer is in 5th. And Teofil Nile in the Santalock is there. You just saw him go through in 6th position. In fact, that was actually his teammate, Matteo De Palo, that we were watching. Big dive from Stenshorne. He's trying to outfox Taylor Barnard early on. He's trying to put Taylor Barnard off his line and play the long game here. Nice and smart as Murray Boyer still dealing with Teofil Nile. I think Stenshorne's got to run on Taylor Barnard for the lead here. Here we go. Side by side. Barnard's going to place his car in the middle of the road if he can. He's just trying to keep Stenshorne back. No, no, you're not going to get me, but round the outside. Stenson's got commitment. Rolling up his sleeves. No, you don't, and off the road goes Stenshorne. Stenshorne does not bail out. So Barnard holds the lead. Stenshorne has to surrender it. And here comes Yugachukwu. He wants to go. So now they're going to continue working this craft. Yugachukwu, he ran in Prema colours in F4 UAE last year. This year he runs in Mumbai Falcons colours. despite the fact it's all very much the same sort of thing, because obviously the Prema team runs the Mumbai Falcons operation. So through they come again. Down the straight. Look how tight the top four are now. Much tighter than they were on the opening lap of the restart. Barnard, Stenshorne, Yugachukwu and Toponen. Then Mari Boyer and Teofil Nile still squabbling over P5, but Stenshorne has got Taylor Barnard's back against the ropes now. Through they come. Brake. Don't go down the hill like you do in Formula One. Turn into the left, square left, then drop down the corkscrew section. Over the right. Oh! Taylor Barnard really running scared here from Stenshorne. Actually nerfs the bollard on the inside there. I think that's going to be a track limits warning somehow. Here they come again. Down to the braking zone, swarming around in the wing mirrors of Taylor Barnard. Just trying to put him off, trying to distract him. It's not just about being fast, it's also about intimidation. He's got the slipstream as well. He's not quite going to be close enough for a run at turn one, but if he keeps it going, he might get a run at him on the far side of the course again. It's all about pacing yourself, but it's also about maximising every opportunity. You're having to think several corners, mate. Taylor Barnard runs wide. Here comes the chance now from Stenshorne. And Stenshone's got momentum. Can he carry this all the way down to the W Hotel? Yugachukwu's got Tarpanen all over the back of him. Here comes Stenshorne, going long on Barnard. He's going to be on the curbs, but he's going to get through. What a move from Martinius Stenshorne. That was beautiful, as Jim Carrey would have screamed. Magnificent. Martinius Stenshorne absolutely nails it. That took some stones, I tell you that. And now the Norwegian is in front of Taylor Barnard. Oh, Martinius is going to have to try and cancel his plans for the latter stages of February. What? I can win a championship here. Oh, he squiggles on the curbs, though. But honestly, that is one of the greatest overtaking moves you're going to see in Formula Regional anywhere in the world. Martinius Stenshorne decided, no, I'm not going to be shoved around. I'm not going to be squeezed out. I'm not going to be crowded off the road. I'm going for the move. I'm taking it, and I'm going to take the lead. Wow. Let's look at it again. Far side, look, he goes long because that's where Barnard sends him. So he thinks, right, well, as long as there's a car's width, I can make this happen. He almost interlocks wheels. Barnard sends him to the curb, so he goes, right, well, I've got no choice. So I'm going to hold it, but I am not going to be shoved around. Commits, holds the line, gets back on the road. Job done. And that's really tough to tell. Is that a clean move or not? I mean, certainly from a racer's point of view, it's a beautiful move, but is it going to be legal? Here comes Wharton. All over the back of Teofil Nile. Getting frustrated. He's going to drive right around the outside. Now, you're probably wondering why so many drivers are trying the outside move. Is because last year, it did work a few times. You can run a couple of different lines on the outside of that opening hairpin. Doesn't always work, but if you've got the commitment and you've got the dedication and you've got a little bit of grip, you can make it happen. So we'll have to see how it all goes through. The fans are going to be saying that was a mega move from Stenshorne. The officials may say, well, he did overtake by going onto the curbs and off the road. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I know that the purists and the lovers of racing are going to think Martinius Stenshorne is a little Norwegian legend, but that's not the only debate here. Toponen still closing in on Yugachukwu. Teofil Nile trying to shake off James Wharton. Lindblad in the Red Bull colours of the Mumbai Falcons Prema. There in 8th position, holding it together. There he is, P8. Race 2 winner on the reverse grid, but he looks pretty miserable down there in 8th position. He's had a long face ever since qualifying yesterday, knowing that this was going to be a race of damage limitation all weekend long. But he certainly took a win in reverse grid. Now, here are the two teammates at FB Motorsport, Bruno Del Pino and Nikhil Bora. Having a great duel as down the straight we've got John Bennett, I think that is, going wheel to wheel with one of the PHM Ike's cars. Now that is going to be, oh no, actually that might be Costa Taparis actually. Down at the braking zone for the chicane, they've just about sorted themselves out through there. And it is Costa Taparis, I was right. So Bora now trying to take on his teammate. What's the first rule of motorsport? Don't hit your teammate. So Bruno Del Pino is going to make his teammate work for it. They go side by side. Is this going to be enough? No, Bora's going to have to try another trick. Comes off the turn out of the hairpin, hoping for another run. Still got plenty of time to do it. 10 minutes left of the race, plus the additional lap. But it's all about momentum. And the racecraft and the level is so close this year that you don't actually get that much overtaking wheel to wheel unless there's a real spanner in the works. But sometimes you don't need a million overtakes per second. You just need a great gosh darn motor race full of nerve, steel and determination. I love a race like this where it's close, and even though there isn't an overtaking move every 5 seconds, that would just be a little bit unpure in my opinion. You've got to let these guys do the work. You've got to let them pick their moment. We're all still on the edge of our seats here. We're still waiting for it all going to be in an exciting run. So there is the 55. That's Valerio Rinicella in his MP, trying to shake off Zachary David. The man who finished second in the reverse grid race earlier on. He's down in 11th now. And again, that shows you how competitive it really is in Formula Regional. Track position and momentum does mean an awful lot in this category. As Arvid Lindblad comes down to the braking zone for the hairpin, for the chicane, I should say, sorry. In front of Matteo De Palo. Turn 1, first warning, track limits, that's the number 6. So that is Bruno Del Pino. That's the man you're looking at, in front of his orange teammated car of Nicol Bora, the 2 MP Motorsport racers. There's Costa Tabares, in front of Alexander Abkasava for Pinnacle. And he's in front of another MP driver, that is Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. So through they come. Stenshorne still your leader, Barnard in second, Yugachukwu in third. Could be a bit of a challenge now. Up the inside, commitment! A little bit of contact as well, I'm afraid, between Zachary David and Valerio Rinicella. Rinicella's run off the road. But is there going to be a puncture as a result of that? It's when you get end plates into tyres, that's when the punctures are going to come. And certainly David still putting the pressure on Valerio Rinicella in the hope that he's psyched him out enough. Stenshorne, Barnard, Yugachukwu, Tarpanen, Boyer, Nile, Wharton, Lindblad, De Palo, and then this battle. And it's for 10th place, the final point. Here comes the dive at the inside, further back. That's Brandon Badua making his move on Zachary David and Jesse Carrasquedo. Carrasquedo comes round the far side. He's actually turned that into an overtake on Rinicella. Well, that was crafty. Rinicella's not happy with it. No, you don't. And they both drifted wide. Somehow they're still on the road, and Brandon Badua's got both of them. Thanks, boys. I'll take that. So Brandon Badua moves up into 11th position, 1 place out of the points. That'll keep his dad, Luca Badua, very happy. Working his way back after a difficult qualifying, Luca Badua. Brandon Badua, sorry. Luca's the one on the sidelines watching. Big dive on the inside from Rinicella. And Brando and Jesse Carrasquedo have to take avoiding action. And now they've got to give way. Well, this is interesting because Carrasquedo's got to drop back in behind Zach David. And they've both got to drop back in behind the MP. So this is going to be an interesting moment for the stewards, isn't it? Where they'll have an interesting conversation. What were you doing there? Rinicella's now going wheel to wheel with Bruno Del Pino, so they can't even give the place back if they wanted to. Del Pino drifts off the road, gets back on, right beside his teammate. That could have been the messiest incident. And between teammates as well. Ay, ay, ay. I would not want to be Sander Dorsman watching this. This is all getting a little bit hectic. And the MP trio have got to stay out of the wars here. That was scary, properly scary. At that point of the course, if you hit each other, you're both going to the barriers. Well, I'll tell you what, no holds barred in the last race of the weekend, is there? Flat out, or flat on your back, seems to be the way these drivers are going for it in the last race of the year. Last race of the weekend, sorry. Preempting it. 6 minutes to go, plus the additional lap. Up the climb, the MP trio, still very closely matched. Nicol Bora trying to take on Valerio Rinicella now. Bruno Del Pino already has. Down the corkscrew drop, through the left, and they rejoin the back straight on the run down to the chicane and the Sports Council Bridge. Now, what is Costa Tabares going to do to keep back Alex Abkasava? Abkasava's going to commit. He's lined this up quite nicely, but he's going to lock up. They're both going to drift off. Tabares is going to take avoiding action, but I'm sorry, Costa. I think you're going to have to give that back to Abkasava because he was ahead of you. Now, the safety car infringement is going to be investigated after the race. It's not given in terms of a number, but there is a safety car infringement which is going to be investigated after this race. Goodness knows what that's in aid of. And I don't even know who that's going to be in aid of. Well, that's an interesting one. So what safety car infringement is the question here? I'm afraid I genuinely don't know. There's no details on it. Now, overtaking involving 5 and 34 is going to be investigated after the race. That is Stenshorne and Taylor Barnard. They are going to look into it. Wow. As far as Martinius Stenshorne is concerned, right, you've got to step on it, mate. You've got to go pedal to the metal. He went 0.6 of a second quicker than Barnard on the last lap. And I think that's the impetus that Stenshorne's needed. There you go. 5 and 34, overtaking, under investigation. They clearly feel that Stenshorne may have gone over track limits. Now he's got to put his foot down and get away from Barnard, because if a penalty is coming, he still needs to keep in front of him. Wow, fascinating stuff. Now, I'm told that the safety car infringement involves 4 separate drivers: 12, 29, 43, and 66. So that is Alexander Abkasava, Costa Toparis, I do believe. Trying to see who else that would involve. Oh, a bit of a lock-up further round. 66 and 12 would be... Well, Alex Abkasava is 12, my apologies. 29 is involved, so that is going to be Gao Yujia, and 66, so Ricky Liu. So quite a few drivers then involved in that one. We'll have to investigate that one later. First warning for track limits for the 55. Now that is Valerio Rinicello, who's obviously had some very interesting times of it of late. And look at Stenshorne disappearing away from Taylor Barnard. He wants to get as clear ahead of Barnard as possible. If he has got a penalty coming, he wants to make sure he's got enough of a lead that it won't take away the win. I've seen that before here at YAS Marina. 3 years ago in the F4 UAE Championship, young Hamda Al-Khabaisi knew she had a penalty coming. So against all the other guys she was racing against in the F4 UAE Championship, she knew she had a 5-second penalty coming. She knew she had another one coming when she exceeded track limits. So she had to pull 10 seconds clear, which she did. Worthy race winner. But can Martinius Stenshorne do likewise? Taylor Barnard is only 2.8 seconds back. But look, that gap is definitely growing. Stenshorne is literally breaking his own lap records here, trying to find the moves. 1:43.7 for him last time. Tarpanen, Ugachukwu and Barnard are all in the 1:44s. Interestingly, other than Stenshorne, the fastest driver on the track at the moment is actually Yuga Ugachukwu. Yellow flag, and that's at turn 15. So that is on the approach now. That is the 99 going slowly. So that is Giovanni Mascio. Mascio limping. Not entirely sure what for, but Mascio has not come through in Sector 2, and nor has Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. So hopefully they're going to just limp their way around and carry on, because we do not need a safety car right now. That would ruin Stenshorne's race. And if he has got a penalty coming, well, he'll drop out of the top 10 if we get a safety car now. So hopefully Mascio and Fittipaldi are able to limp back to the pits. There's Teofil Nal trying to close up on Mari Boyer and also get away from the Australian James Wharton. Still having a good run of it though, Teofil Nal! That is one heck of a power slide to save on the way out of the W Hotel. Ay, ay, ay. He got away with it, but that was more Tokyo Drift than it was YAS Marina racing. Okay, goodness me. He got away with it. Stenshorne leads. Barnard second. Ugachukwu, Tarpanen, Boyer, and Teofil Nal. That was close. Well, it's going to be a tough run all the way to the finish line, and we haven't got much left of this one. There is Stenshorne coming out of the corkscrew. Barnard still trying to stay with him. Ugachukwu hanging on for third for the moment. The American talent, who's about 6'5", doing a great job in third position, trying to close up on Taylor Barnard. But he just can't quite stay with him. We've got the final 40 seconds or so of this race, so Stenshorne is going to go into this lap. He's probably grateful of it, because if he has got a penalty, that's one more lap that he can extend the gap between himself and Taylor Barnard. There's James Wharton. Still getting up close to Teofil Nal. Watching him slide his way through every corner. Don't forget that this is where the tyres are really going to start screaming at the drivers. Look after us, please. We've got to go the distance here. And it's so easy to lock the brakes on these cars. So easy to overcook the tyres. First warning at turn 16 for the number 15 for track limits. That is Brandon Badoa. And there is the number 34, having a fabulous time in the lead of the race, but he's got Wang Xiongwei in front of him. And he's not far away from lapping. In fact, he gets the blue flag. Please, Xiongwei, do not hold me up, says Martinius Stenshorne. I'm trying to get away from the fastest driver of yesterday, Taylor Barnard, who got both pole positions and the race 1 win. I'm trying to get away. Please don't hold me up. Now, of course, the impetus here for Wang Xiongwei is that you've got to stay predictable. You've got to let the driver behind know what you're doing. Well, that's pretty clear, isn't it? Get out of the way. Thanks, Xiongwei. So Martinius Stenshorne definitely owes Wang Xiongwei a crate of Chinese wine for that one. He's got through, no problem at all. And Wang Xiongwei now needs to do the same thing for Taylor Barnard when he comes through. He doesn't want to get himself a penalty for not getting out of the way. Blue flags are still waving. Don't worry, Martinius, they're not for you. They're for the R&B racing car. And Taylor Barnard is hoping to use that particular machine to gain a little bit of momentum in terms of the slipstream. And Wang Xiongwei is in the wrong part of the circuit, really, for that. Now he's in a good position. Here comes Martinius Stenshorne then. The last lap begins. And into the pits comes Wang Xiongwei. He's not going to cause any issues for Taylor Barnard that he doesn't have to. 3.7 is the gap currently. That's not going to be enough if Stenshorne gets a 5-second penalty, is it? But the leader is on the last lap. That's the main thing. Teofil Nal now has a second warning for track limits. Can't afford to mess around on the final lap. But Martinius Stenshorne, with some really crafty racing, managing to get himself into the lead with a debatable overtake. And there's going to be two sides to the story on that one. There are going to be people out there who will think, well, he was forced off the road, so there's no harm, no foul on that one. If he commits to the move, then that's fine. There are others who will feel, well, you go off the road and make an overtake, that's all that it takes. Arvid Lindblad very nearly clouting the wall there. He really is struggling at the latter stages of this race in terms of traction. I wonder if he's one of the drivers with the tyres that are starting to fade in the closing stages. So through they come. And what a sensational finish for Martinius Stenshorne to this weekend. Taylor Barnard looked absolutely dominant yesterday. But Stenshorne decided, no, I don't care if I'm not doing the full campaign. I'm going to show everybody that if I was here for the full campaign, I'd be taking this title fight right down to the wire. His sponsors may well decide, well, do you know what, Martinius, go for it. Go and win the title. You never know, plans change at the last minute, and certainly Martinius Stenshorne has made it look brilliant. Third in race 1, third in race 2. Now he's finally going to come through and take the victory. Everybody in Norway, take an absolute leap of faith and applaud as here comes Martinius Stenshorne, wins at YAS Marina. Brilliant. Race GP get their first win of the season. 3 different race winners for 3 different race teams. Epic stuff. PHM Ikes get their win of the season with Taylor Barnard. Arvid Lindblad for the Mumbai Falcons. And now it's Martinius Stenshorne for Race GP. A phenomenal performance and a terrific display. And what a terrific start to the season for the boys from Fontenay-le-Comte. And I'm sure that Thibaut de Merindol and the whole team are going to be absolutely ecstatic with that one. This team that is currently in their 14th season of motorsport competition. They were the FRECA Teams Champions back in 2021. They dominated the final years of the Formula Renault categories. But here they are in Formula Regional Middle East. And it's a great run from Martinius Stenshorne. Excellent. Genuinely solid performance. And now, as Callum T writes on the chat, we wait for the stewards. Can he keep it? It's going to be very difficult. Now, if he does get a 5-second penalty, he'll still be on the podium, of course. In fact, he'll be second place because he managed to pull out 4.1 seconds on Taylor Barnard, but that would be a bitter pill to swallow, especially after all that hard work. Taylor Barnard must be thinking, well, it's out of my hands, but second place is still pretty good. That's 18 points on the board minimum. But what a fabulous battle. And what a great start to Formula Regional Middle East 2024. What a great start to the motor racing season. If you thought that it was going to be a bit of a plum year in motorsport, if you thought that maybe, well, 2024, what have we got to look forward to? Plenty, mate. Certainly here in the Middle East. F4 and Formula Regional have been absolutely on song. And they've given us 3 magnificent races each. And guess what, folks? You've got a grand total of 24 still to come. 12 in Formula 4 UAE, 12 in Formula Regional Middle East. And I can't wait for it. A week from now, we'll do this all over again here on the YAS Marina circuit once more. Superb. Let's look at the provisional results. I say provisional very, very harshly. Stenshorne in front of Taylor Barnard and Hugo Ugachukwu from Tuka Tapanen and Mari Boya. Teo Filnar from James Wharton, Arvid Lindblad, Matteo De Palo, and the final point provisionally going to Zach David of Malta for the Race GP team. One at the top of the top 10 and one at the bottom of it. 11th place for Brando Badoa, Jessica Schkedo in front of Bruna Del Pino, Nikhil Bora and Valerio Menicella from Alex Abkasava, Noah Lyle, Costa Taparis, John Bennett, and Yaroslav Vezalaho, the Ukrainian. Top 20 finish for both the XL Motorsport team drivers in their first ever Formula Regional race. Not a bad effort. Ricky Liu, Gao Yujia, Finley Green doing a fair job in 23rd in front of Wang Xiongwei, Giovanni Mascio, and then the retirements. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr., Pedro Claro, and on that first lap, Rafael Kamara and Tazanapol Intervivazak. Very unfortunate to lose them. What an epic commencement to the motorsport season 2024. 3 different winners from 3 races in 3 different teams. Formula Regional Middle East is game on. And I still can't tell you who's going to be the champion. This boy's got a good chance, Taylor Barnard. This man sadly doesn't by his own admission because he's only doing 3 of the 5 rounds. But Taylor Barnard being consoled there for second place. I'm sure the debate is going to be, well, he overtook me illegally. Don't worry, we'll leave it to the stewards. They'll decide. Martinius Stenshorne will be like, what? I went for the move. It was on. I made it happen. Thanks very much. Victory for me. Whether or not it stays that way, we'll have to find out. And the American Hugo Ugachukwu gets his first podium finish in Formula Regional. There, I told you it was about 6'5", didn't I? They're going to have to redesign single-seaters purely for Hugo Ugachukwu. Getting ourselves ready then for the podium ceremony. The highlights will be played out from a fabulous race battle. And when we finish that, the podium for the 3rd and final race of the weekend. That'll do nicely. 3 different race winners from 3 different race teams in the first 3 races at Formula Regional Middle East 2024. My goodness, has it been exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, the podium ceremony begins here for the 2024 Formula Regional Middle East Championship, certified by FIA. Round 1 here at YAS Marina Circuit, and it's race number 3, and we'll welcome our 3 drivers to the podium. In 3rd position for the United States of America, Hugo Chukwu. He comes through for the Mumbai Falcons Racing Team to 3rd position overall, and as well, he takes the rookie class victory. In 2nd position for the United Kingdom, Taylor Barnard. A great run and a fabulous battle. He continues adding more points to his tally in this epic fight for the title. But your race winner for Norway, Martinius Stenshorne. What a drive. Martinius has taken his way to the rostrum on no less than 3 occasions out of 3. I think they're going to have to reschedule. Maybe he should do the whole season after all. It's my honor to invite Mr. Ong Mochai, the Deputy General Manager of GT Tyre China Investment Company Limited. He will bring the trophies to our contenders. He will give the 3rd place trophy, as well as the rookie trophy, of course, to the American driver, Hugo Chukwu. Into 2nd position, Taylor Barnard. And to our race winner, Martinius Stenshorne. A fabulous display from our competitors. They really have been superb here in Formula Regional Middle East at YAS Marina. And guess what, folks? They get to do it all again next weekend on the Grand Prix layout. It's going to be really exciting to see how it all goes. They may be in the 3rd different positions, but the height is not quite the way it should be. They're all very different in height, of course. But now we get to celebrate. Let's party, YAS Marina style. It's champagne time. Right, Martinius, thank you very much. You owe me a new shirt. Well done to our drivers in Formula Regional Middle East. We've had a sensational opening weekend, both in F4 UAE and in Formula Regional Middle East. And guess what? We get to do it all again. For all of you watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on Motorsport TV, wherever you're watching around the world, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back, same time, same place, next week at YAS Marina Circuit here in Abu Dhabi. I'm Jake Sanson. We hope you enjoyed it. 6 brilliant races. And guess what? 24 still to come. Bye for now.